All right. Welcome, guys. I am Brian. This is the Wellness Network, and I want to go over a couple fun things today, real quick, with you guys, and try some new formats, and yeah, just have some fun with it. So, let's see. First thing I want to start off with here is I'll show you guys something. It's a picture of your DNA, okay? All right, so our DNA, if you are unfamiliar, is what helps translate our genetic coding from our parents into the future, and obviously helps us with the expression of how we look. That's why we have traits from different parents, right? So, what I want to talk to you or show you is something. I want you to not think and just take a second and just kind of step back from the bigger picture here. So, okay, so what we have here, guys, is basically you see the nitrogen bases, okay? So adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. Those are your base pairs. And you can also see the two different helix strands, okay? So DNA made of a double helix, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, so I'm going to show you something else, and we're going to come back to this, okay? So the next thing I want to talk about is how does that relate not only to our DNA, but, okay, to who we are as a person. Okay, so now let's look at something different here. Okay, so in your body, right, you have different layers of what you could call your organs, etc. And let's see, never mind. Let me screen share. Okay, cool. So, real quick, Anatomy Trains is a cool book that goes over something fairly unique that we don't talk a lot about, which is the fascial lines. Okay. And so what I want to show you guys next, okay, so keep that in mind, of how your fascia is basically what's going to help your body connect multiple levels of information together. All right, but we're going to simplify this. So the next thing I want you to think about, okay, so to tie everything together real quick, okay, because we started with some imagery. One of the things I talk about a lot lately, that I'm going to be building a course and a few things around, we'll get that going for you guys as well, is rope flow, okay, guys? So I want to explain to you one of the reasons how rope flow can tie into some of these things we're talking about when it comes to expression of your DNA, when it comes to your fascia and understanding the different fascial lines of the body, and how we're going to go over one more thing as far as how the left and right brains, right hemispheres of the brain connect together, okay? And how they control the opposite sides of the body, okay? So that's going to be important in understanding this spiral structure. So the next thing, let's see if we can pull this up real quick. It's going to be, this is a couple screenshots of human physiology. I'm going to talk about the somatosensory cortex, okay? So the reason I want to show you guys this, okay, is just to take a quick look. So in your somatosensory cortex, okay, it's the map of what allows you to process certain sensory information, okay? And you're going to see here kind of how that's distributed in that particular part of your brain, and then how much space is devoted to different parts of the body, okay? So the main thing I want you guys to notice is how the hands and basically the sensations around the lips, the mouth, obviously the eyes, all that ties in. But when we look at this picture here, that kind of gives us a distribution of how the sensory information, what it shows you guys is, as humans, this is a way that we can connect more with who we are, right? We talk about our five senses, and I've spoken about how we live in this very visual time, but one of the reasons why music is very important, one of the reasons why food connects people, one of the reasons, again, that using our hands and working with our hands feels so human, right? Because these are important connective points to the brain and to how the entire picture develops, okay? So just take that in consideration. When we are talking about rope flow, I'm going to be tying this in more to how working with the left and right side of the body, and working with, these major somatosensory areas in the particular part of your brain, in the somatosensory cortex, what that does to help you, on this deeper level. And the simplest way I want to explain it is actually not delving so much into the scientific side, because again, even in my book, The Art and Science of Mindset, what we're trying to do is help bridge some of the common sense to the science, right? Or almost show you the artistic side of the scientific expression itself, okay? So next thing, guys, is, okay, we're going to dive into another picture here. All right. So, and I know you've heard this phrase, right? So keep in mind, for somebody that's got, full function, all their limbs, all their senses, right? Obviously there's exceptions to this rule, and that's one of the things we would consider when, obviously working and developing individual traits and strengths for you and for your journey and for your skill sets, for example, so to speak. Okay, but this general commonality of these two sides, the left and the right side of the body, okay, we're going to look at it a different way. And you're familiar with the yin and yang symbol, and you've heard this phrase, as above, so below, okay? So let's take another quick look at an image that's kind of depicting like the tree of life, as above, so below. And we're going back to this DNA spiral, okay? So as above, so below. So we have the tree of life. We see that sort of yin and yang structure. We see a lot of depictions in here. This cyclical structure, this moon cycle structure, night and day, the roots and the fruits, okay? So everything is coming back to these two polarities, okay? These two poles, these two helixes, okay? And so when we go back to the version we looked at earlier, where the double helix is laid out to you, just pull that up one more time, okay? Here you go, guys. Here's what you're seeing. Here's what you're peering into, okay? You're peering into this world that is, it's deeper than we realize as far as how the complex simplicity ties together in everything. But the esoterica and the connections are everywhere, everywhere. Okay, so here we are, guys. Here we go. Okay, take a look one more time at how we experience reality. Okay, remember, this is you. This is the expression of you. And we talk deeper about epigenetics and how your present awareness and present moment interacts with, right here, these are the notes, guys. Okay, these are the notes. Here you have the poles, the polarities. Okay, and this is the expression of you. Okay, and we'll get deeper into the symbolism, but I just want to give you guys a different way of using your mind, a different way of making connections. Okay, so now one more picture to help tie it all together, what I'm really trying to get at here. Okay, so this, and if you're familiar with how symbolism works, right? If you're familiar with how it works, you're going to understand real quick what this concept is also connected to. Okay, so right here, okay, the two polarities. In between, we have the checkerboard, the all-seeing eye. Excuse me. So these are Freemasonic symbols, right? You could call them, or going back into these ancient orders, going all the way back into Egypt, Kemet. But really, we're tying together these series of connections, the so-called Jesuits, Freemasons. Some people talk, about the Illuminati, right? But where does that all come from? The Rothschilds, the Rosicrucian, connections to the House of Windsor, to the Vatican, to Rome, to Khazaria, to the history that we're often not taught. Okay, guys. So when you realize your DNA is really the portal, and here you see in between, right? We have this checkerboard, which is where they want your mind. They want you to be on the checkerboard, but I often talk about how you have to ascend or live above, be in the world but not of the world, so that you can have the God's eye view, right? The most high view, the highest vantage point from the pinnacle. Okay? Give thanks. So we say Jah Rastafari. Okay. So we'll get into some of the deeper connections, guys. I want to take you through how it all ties together. Okay, but the last thing I want to show you is, remember, the difference in perspective of how we view this is what we're seeing. So as above, so below. Okay, left and the right brain, red and blue, black and white on the checkerboard. Okay, caught in between the polarities so that you cannot experience the beauty of life, the color of those 12 tonals and that 13th overtone. Okay, so every time we jump up, you have to deal with the number 13, which is 1 and 3. Okay, so all of this has some important meaning, but we live in a world that doesn't want us to consider what it means, to look deeper into the meaning, right? The world wants us to be on the surface. Okay, again, that's what it's about, the surface. You're constantly left, right, left, right. Again, how our left and right brain work together, how they control the opposite sides of the body. Even the medical symbol where you see the Kundalini, I'm going to pull that up for you. Actually kind of ties into this next one here, which has also been making some rounds. I've seen some people talking about lately. I remember coming across this many, many years ago, this concept of this all quadrants, level, stages theory, which I'm going to show you real quick. Okay, so boom. Okay, so again, as above, so below. Okay, the toroidal spiral. Okay, here, boom. As above, so below. Left, right, the polarities. Okay, Lower self, higher self, okay? Lower self, higher self, okay? Left, right, as above, so below, okay? Because we're going to go deeper into this. But if you remember back to some of the images we just went over, okay? I want you to start to think about everything as being tied together. And when we get into the spiral dynamic, the nature of, the energy systems of the body, and how that works, and how that can help us train, help us get better in life, help us improve our just well-being overall. Okay, then yeah, we're gonna go deeper, like I said, into the specifics. But what you'll find is right now, guys, the thing I want you to stop. I want you to train your mind to not get compartmentalized all the time. In other words, I want you to start to see, connections, not because you're, it's almost like the less you try, the more you will, right? Because that's the ultimate concept we're getting at, right? And even when we talk about the mind and the power of mind and the mindset, we understand this connection between the God mind and the being that you are, the location, the coordinates, the points in space and time that help you to identify the specific experience that you're having. But also how, obviously, right, we think about this concept of God, omnipresent, omnipotent, and just all-knowing, all-present, all-time. And we don't necessarily take it literally. We think, oh, well, we're connected to everything, everywhere, all at once. And we don't take it literally. So that's the step for today, is remember that your DNA it's that frame, all right? You're moving through like the serpent spiraling through space, the kundalini moving through your body, and the energy, the chi that's animating, the soul, the breath, the prana. Okay, guys. So, today's points to remember that you have that potential. The reality exists within you. Potential to write the song, to create the score, exists within you. The tones are all there within you, within your DNA. You've been given that specific song so that when you're going through life, certain things are going to resonate with that little tone, that frequency within your genetic coding, within your DNA, within this frequency song template that's being sung into life, that is you. Okay? And when we talk about balancing out life and helping people move forward and evolve, then what we're talking about is wholeness, getting back to being holistic. That's why this integrative concept connects to everything else we're talking about, because that's the integration. It's the lower and the higher self before we even get to me and you. Take that with you for today, guys, and we're going to go deeper again into why I think rope flow is one of the coolest and best ways you guys can unlock limitless potential for whatever it is you do. And the reason being is that here's your polarities, right? Joaquin and Boaz, as they call them in these esotericas, and the Albert Pike's Morals and Dogmas, and all this esoterica going back into history, so on and so forth. But I really want to put a precedent on going into depth on all that, but I'm definitely on the creative, artistic side, so I'm always pushing forward with this expression and this concept of how, being even a musician and an artist, how we can literally take this and now bring it to life, put the show together, put the event together, put the thing together, okay? Fortunately, in this world today, Everybody's been pushed so much into that reality, and so much into identifying with the extremes, the polarities themselves, that we've lost that color, that integration, that dance. And one of the ways technology plays into this is the natural rhythm of life that we used to have, rather than every 15, 20 seconds, or every 15, 20 minutes, or every, 3, 4 hours minimum. There's no one that's going more than a few hours with checking their phones these days, right, guys? To the point where I think we're starting to see younger people actually wanting spaces where they can get away from technology. So this is the concept of how it's all going to tie together, and also what we can do. So rote flow, again, touching back on the rote flow, it's going to be a great way to help you develop that somasensory cortex. And when you train the hands, that movement, that flow, it's going to translate to the rest of your body. It's going to translate into your brain. It's going to translate into your the rest of your senses. It's going to translate into even getting your metabolism going, getting your mitochondria, getting your caloric intake and consumption burning more efficiently. So it's just, and we're talking low impact, so easy to start out. This is the thing that literally ties it all together, pun intended, right, guys? This is the inside joke that is the universe itself, and beyond the universe that was created, because the universe is just a song. It's just one song. It's just one verse. But God is the creator, and the energy, the toroidal force, the torsion, the torque, the movement that moves you towards that experience, right? If we don't have time and space, how can you have an experience within time and space? How can you know hot if you don't know cold? How can you know joy if you don't know pain, right? So this is what we're getting at, right? That helixal energy intertwined together that creates who you are. And simply by just seeing this within yourself, realizing you are connected to this very simple thing, as above, so below, the left and the right hemisphere. So this side controls that side of the body, the right side of my brain controls the left side of my body. Guys, it's all there, all tied together. All we have to do is unlock it and get out of your own way, okay? So some people call it just acting dumb. Some people call it having faith. Some people call it remaining in the present moment, or having even a positive mindset or a growth mindset. All this stuff is in the book, The Art and Science of Mindset. Really is a key component. I'm working on a few other things for you guys right now, but also been, in a big transition. So going to be bringing you guys more stuff as far as videos and content very soon. Right now, we're just kind of, like I said, keeping it moving forward, and also setting a bit of a groundwork so that there's content available to help tie, the bigger picture together. And, we want to talk about the fitness side. We want to talk about the wellness and the mental wellness side, the spiritual side, and tie it all together, and give people the wholeness, right? The wellness is wholeness, wholeness is wellness. And that's why we're saying, hey, let's do this. Let's set the foundation. And so many other people are doing it as well, because now is a great time, and now is the time. So that's the key. Once we start to connect, once we start to build those bridges and sing that song collectively and unlock this collective story and voice within the human experience and within our DNA and within our voices, then we will see a massive, massive shift. And it's always darkest before the dawn. So remember that, guys. We're going through a lot of changes right now in the world, but that also means that there's many, many new possibilities on the horizon. So with great change comes great potential. So here we go, guys. Diving deeper. Thanks for following. Make sure you subscribe. We have a free community we've got started. We're going to be having a ton more. We want to give you guys a call to action. Your call to action today is really just get on board, subscribe, follow the channel, help us grow, and we're going to get a lot more content. And think about these simple things. Number one, breathing. Okay, breathing is so important because breathing is what ties this lower and higher sense of polarity in self, left and right, together. Okay, the north and south, the hemispheres, the polarities, and breathing is really connected to spirit. And I did a couple of really great workshops recently, so I want to talk definitely much more about breathing specifically, the power of the breath. But I want you to think about breathing, and I want you to think about your DNA and this concept of the polarities, right? That even in these societies, these secret societies, they're showing you how reality really works. They're showing you these depictions, and a lot of it's hidden in plain sight, right? So when we get into how the world really works, how things are connected, a lot of it being hidden in plain sight. That's why it comes down to, can you see what's in front of you? Can you see what is between, the polarities, the forest through the trees? So thank you guys again. Brian from the Wellness Network. And we're going to be bringing you so much more great insight real soon. And I want to talk a lot more about training, putting together some protocols, building up the clientele. Like I said, a lot of shifts happening. And, I've been also balancing out a number of things as far as in my own life while building this business and bringing you guys this content. But right now there's just so much relevance to what we're doing and what I'm seeing in the world, so we have to get it going, right? And the key is just I want you guys to have this perspective, my unique perspective. There's a lot of great people out there, but one of the cool things about being human is that everybody has their own unique experience. And when you start tuning out all the doubt and the voices that kind of told you your entire life you weren't going to make it, you weren't going to do it, you couldn't achieve what you felt inside, you just didn't have what it takes, right? These are the things you have to push through, guys. These are the things deep down that are the most tied to our own shadow self, tied to our own trauma, whatever you want to call it. But they're so connected to who we are and how we view ourselves, because it really is choosing to allow someone else to control us through these things that really are not of us. And that's one of the ways I want to help you use this concept to understand the polarity of how everything is one, but we still have this dance of life where everything's connected, but at the same time there's things that aren't going to resonate with you as much as there's things that are going to resonate with you. Okay, and similar to the way when you hear a song, not every moment of that score emotionally affects you the same way. The bridge, the verse, the chorus, it's all going to affect you differently. Same thing with an album. That first song might hit a certain way, that third song might be one of your favorites, but that one like later in the album, or that very last one, it's like the bonus song that was recorded late night and they just threw on the album as like a feature, something like that. And you're like, oh, I love that song, right? I can't wait to get through the album to hear that last song, right? Guys, that's it. It's simple. We make it complex. We make it complicated, guys. And I love music as an analogy, especially being somebody that's so into fitness and grew up so around and enveloped in fitness, sports, training, competition. Music brings out this really cool balance of how we can, create progress. I'll say it like that. I'll leave it at that. How we can channel this vibration, this energy, this consciousness, this as above, so below, this left and right side, red shift, blue shift, black and white, checkerboard of polarity that somehow ties together as one thing. Good and evil. Beyond good and evil. Have you ever heard of that book by Nietzsche? So guys, take this stuff into consideration, right? And the one thing, like I said earlier, above and beyond, even all that is I just want you to think about your breathing, the in-breath and the out-breath. Just become more conscious of it, more aware of it. I'm going to give you guys some cool exercises, some ones you've heard, some ones you might have not heard, and we may even create some of our own. So but I'll tell you about some of the experiences I've had in that sense as we go into the wellness multiverse, because there's so much to wellness. And like I said, I want to give you guys a good balance of both things. That's why we have the art and science of mindset, and everybody's different. No one's ever going to do everything exactly the same, and you can see that. You can see people tend to have tribes of thought or tribes of identity, right? But the reason why we have this identity crisis is because right now it's so key for you to think about what you actually bring forward and contribute, rather than just like everybody trying to find out necessarily where they fit in this spectrum. Like you could think of these different colors or these different musical tones as this spectrum, this circle. When people talk about this zodiac or a procession of the stars in the sky, right? It's a cycle or a circle. And why I bring this up is because, when you realize that, again, just like in music, it's the same vibration, but when you move it through different periods or wavelengths or frequencies, you have a different emotion, a different tone, a different color. It evokes something different. And so we're all going through these experiences in life, and we tend to become very fixed. We want to become fixed. We want to feel like, okay, I've decided this is where I fit. This is my thing. Even if I don't fit, I fit with the people that don't fit. Or I fit, okay, I don't fit there anymore. So, or I don't like the way these people, so we're moving to a different level of existence where everybody's singing the song. Everybody's becoming more aware of the song, of the colors, of the movements, of the scenes, of the tones, of the sounds, of the scale. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully you found something fun, helpful, insightful. Like I said, follow, and subscribe to the channel, share the channel, and stay tuned for more.